Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
And I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
We have a lot of teams to get to this episode. So, Ryan, what's the question?
Who is in the College Football Bros top 25?
All right, let's jump right into it, starting with number 25, of course, Arizona State. And, of course, you have some coaches that might be in trouble there. But as far as the team itself, they bring back Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Ton of experience on defense, so I like them. Number 24, TCU. You can pretty much always count on Gary Patterson's defense. The key is going to be whether Max Duggan can take another step forward as a passer for the offense. 23, we have Texas. Steve Sarkisian inherits a pretty talented roster, including possibly the best running back in college football in Bijan Robinson. And he hired a really good defensive coordinator, Pete Kwiatkowski from Washington. So see if they can get off to a hot start. Number 22 is Indiana. I think they'll be pretty good, but some concerns about the fact that Michael Penix is an injury risk, and they were pretty fortunate with huge turnover luck last year. Number 21, Ole Miss. I love this team. Matt Corral's going to have a monster year 2 under Kiffin, and the defense should take a significant step forward.
All right. You are definitely a Lane Kiffin fanboy. Moving on to number 20, we got Utah. Utah's poised for a good year, especially if former Baylor Bear Charlie Brewer plays like he did in the old spring game where he was perfect, essentially. A ton of talent coming back, so lots to like for the Utes. Number 19, we got LSU, maybe the hardest team in the country to predict this year. Lots of new faces on the coaching staff, but a ton of returning production as far as on the field. Weird mix. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm a little higher than my bros. At 18, we have Iowa. Iowa lost some studs up along the offensive and defensive line, so we'll see how they're able to replace those guys. But it's not the first time Iowa's had that happen to them before, and they seem to do just fine replacing those guys. So should be another good year in Iowa City. Number 17, we got UW. First full year here for the head coach, Jimmy Lake. Only 4 games last year. Technically, Pac-12 North champs last year. Got a ton of production coming back, so really it all comes down to Dylan Morris, the quarterback. Can he get that passing game going? If he does, then this is a team that can win the Pac-12. If not, they'll still be all right, but ain't going to win the Pac-12. At number 16, we got USC. It's a big year for Michael's team and Clay Helton in particular. Zero excuses not to have a good year. Keaton Slovis back for his 3rd year at quarterback. Plenty of weapons to work with. Question for them is, as it has been the last couple of years, is can the offensive line not be terrible? We'll see. Jury's out on that one.
Spoiler alert, it can't do it. It's not capable of not doing that.
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
negatives
tough.
there,
We'll
but
see.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, now we're into the top 15. So at number 15, we've got Penn State. We're chalking up last season as a hiccup. They dealt with bad luck, COVID opt-outs, including Micah Parsons, and we're seeing a bounce-back year for James Franklin's Nittany Lions. Finished the year well. A lot's going to hinge on Sean Clifford because he did well a couple years ago, leading them to 11-2, but last year he regressed and threw 9 picks. So if we get the good Clifford, I expect a good year. Notre Dame is number 14. We're lower on the Irish than the pollsters who have them 7th and 9th, but in a year where a lot of teams returned so much production, the Irish are the opposite, and they're going to have a lot of new faces, and that leads to some uncertainty. We're all very curious to see how Jack Cohen can replace 30-win Ian Book. At number 13, you've got Oregon. There's a lot to like with this year's Duck team. If Anthony Brown can get in sync with offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead's system and match the success that the defense should have with Kayvon Thibodeau, Noah Sewell, then this will be the team to beat in a very competitive Pac-12. At number 12, we've got the Florida Gators. We all know Florida, of course, loses a lot of offensive production, but we all have faith that Dan Mullen will get the most out of his quarterback once again and use that dual threat ability of Emory Jones. And thanks to some key transfers and returning talent, I think Todd Grantham's defensive improvement will help offset some of those offensive losses. And at number 11, Miami. A lot of this hinges on Derek King's health, of course, but assuming he's close to 100%, the Canes offense should be very strong in year 2 of Rhett Lashley's system, given the weapons that he has available. There are questions on defense, particularly the front 7, but I'm trusting Manny Diaz and that softer schedule in the ACC.
Okay, getting to the top 10. Cincinnati snuck in there. Clearly the best G5 team. And with Indiana and Notre Dame on the schedule, if they are able to go undefeated again, then this year they've got a legit chance to make the playoff. Number 9 is Wisconsin. Just had so many things go wrong last year, COVID, of course, being one of them, but they should bounce back. Defense will be great, and Graham Mertz, I would expect, he's got the talent to be a lot better than he looked last year in year 1 as a starter. Number 8, North Carolina. Sam Howell, maybe the best quarterback in the country, and I think Mac Brown's recruiting is going to start finally showing up on the defensive side of the ball. Number 7 is Iowa State. They were a legit top 10 team last year, and Matt Campbell returns just about everybody. So you kind of have to put them in the top 10, I feel like, and I think 6 or 7 is where I considered putting them. Number 6, though, we have Texas A&M. The defense under Mike Elko is going to be nasty, as always. If A&M wants to jump into that top 5, which we're about to get to, where there's, I think, kind of a decent jump to that top 5, they're in a league of their own, then the offense needs to become elite. So Jimbo needs to chuck it deep, needs to get some explosive plays. Well, he doesn't. Yep. I think Zach Calzada or Haynes King need to.
Wow. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, I mean, he could do it.
Maybe Jimbo.
He could do it. Yeah. All right, number 5, we got Ohio State. Question for them is obviously can C.J. Stroud continue the level of QB play that they've kind of been accustomed to the last few years, whether it's Haskins or Fields. They have just been firing on all cylinders. If he does replicate that, then hello playoff again for the Buckeyes. Number 4, we got Georgia. JT Daniels really helped stabilize Georgia, honestly, because if you go back to, less than a year ago, but during last year's season, it was Mathis. I mean, they were just not looking that great, right? So, but he came in and all of a sudden they look pretty darn good, finished the year strong, setting themselves up for a big year. Number 3, we got Oklahoma. This is probably the strongest team Lincoln Riley has had on paper going into the year. And it's, the offense is still great as it has been, but it's the defense led by Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator, is the reason why everybody's kind of picking them to be preseason top 2, top 3 type team, and a legit national title contender. So watch out for the Sooners. Number 2, we have Alabama, which means my bros picked Clemson number 1 because I put Bama at number 1. So I got voted out on this one. But Bama at number 2. Obviously, all eyes are on Bryce Young to see if he can kind of replicate what they've had as far as QB play has been concerned. But he's also got a lot of other pieces that he needs to work with. Loses some Devontae Smith at receiver and a few good offensive linemen as well. So, but he's going to have a great defense to rely on. And then number 1, I already mentioned it, the Clemson Tigers. DJ Uiagalelei leading the way, taking over for Trevor Lawrence. Ton of supporting cast to help him out. And I think probably the reason maybe why my bros went with them is we've seen Uiagalelei be really, really good. And their defensive front 7 is maybe the best in the country. So, looking forward to Clemson versus Georgia in week 1 already.
For sure. All right, there you have it. That is our top 25. Tomorrow it's going to be our final question of our college football preview series. So just a reminder to anyone watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our podcast as well, because during the season, that's where our main episodes are, breaking down games that just happened, previewing games for the upcoming week. Those are audio episodes only. So there's a link in the description on YouTube to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow, the last episode.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.